AMR24 is officially out, and we have an idea of what the plan is for Aston Martin to take it to that next level to get race wins with their aggressive strategy. There are a couple keys going into the season, and it seems like that strategic plan of trying to win races in 2025 and it now being 2024 and them ahead of schedule is working out for the team in green and what they can do to take it to that next level. The team has a lot to fight for. They had a very successful 2023 season and they have a lot to ride off of. With multiple podiums, with all of them coming from Alonso, it'll be a big year for Lance Stroll and Alonso as well. The key strategy here for Aston Martin is also to retain Fernando Alonso with this new opening in Mercedes, with Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari, making one of the biggest transfers ever in Formula One. It begs the question, will Fernando Alonso move from Aston Martin? And Mercedes has already kind of been rumored to be talking to Fernando about a potential move, but he has said he is good here at Aston Martin and wants to stay here and see what that development strategy is. That's one of the keys for Aston Martin, is retaining Fernando. With this aggressive strategy and now them actually pulling up on their development plan, it's important that they can retain the character of Fernando. He builds the team up in not only developing the car, but morale around the team. They have said that Fernando is a big reason as to why this team has really been moving, that he's motivated, he's in that groove. It was something that they said Sebastian Vettel actually lacked while he was there. They kind of said he was towards the end of his career. It was kind of like, hey, it works out, it doesn't. I'm kind of getting towards the end. But Fernando really feels like this is an opportunity to go for that number 3 world championship. And the team definitely has potential moving up to Honda in 2026, but 24 and 25 still being a very open door with this new AMR24. This new evolutionized AMR24 follows a lot of what its predecessor had, but it takes the strengths of its predecessor to step up into this new season. Now, obviously the talk is going to be, is it enough with this car? And Dan Fallows states, talking about the car, saying what has been upgraded and what they have evolutionized. The biggest things being spoken about for the car is that the actual front and rear suspension of the car has been revised completely. Now the front looks pretty similar to what we had before, but it is a completely new chassis design, and you can see that with the big undercut they have in their car, and the actual front wing itself is different. Now I go over this completely in my Everything We Need to Know video, so if you want to check that out, just recently made today, that is where I will technically explain the car. But their goals stay the same with this AMR24. The goal is to fight for those wins, those podiums. This is what Dan Fallows says. He says that Red Bull is chaseable. They can go after that team. They aren't that far out. With this change and this evolutionized car, they could do it. If we remember correctly, the actual RB18 itself went from an RB19 that was very similar. They had a bigger undercut in the RB19. They changed a couple things within the underfloor. Underfloor is a very important key part of the car that we really don't know about just yet. We don't know what is the strength of this car, and there is still a lot hiding with this team. You can clearly see that that engine cover is pretty lackluster to what we thought was going to be for the team. The actual rear wing itself is still hiding a lot of elements. If they've changed the front suspension, then it should be a lot more different in person. But yet again, it is big changes that we have yet to see. A lot of behind the scenes work has gone on over here for Aston Martin. Their actual factory is still being upgraded. The car has not been put into a new wind tunnel yet, so there is still a lot more potential to come from that. But 2024 is still a big stepping stone for them, expecting wins, going off of what Dan Fallows says, but also the words from Alonso. Alonso is very happy with the team, what they've made in a short period of time. Lance talks about the team being in a way better state of mind. When you come in, it's a very energized, different feeling now with the team, a team that can actually potentially go for those wins. And with the new factory being made and the new drawings being made there, this is definitely now a different type of team that doesn't have to go around really the calendar trying to make these upgrades on the fly. In 2023, it was a struggle. They didn't have a factory for a very long period of time. They were having to make stuff not even really in the factory, but struggling how to know correctly where to go to the direction with the car. As Dan Fallows says, the chassis design is new, as is the nose, front wing, front suspension, and rear suspension. Now the rear suspension gives us a hint at what Mercedes is going to have. It's going to be a push rod in the back for Mercedes. But it seems like the front suspension is still going to be a push rod unless maybe Mercedes advised them to maybe not change that front of the car. But we will have to see going into it without the renders, because they are doing a shakedown today officially for the AMR 24. They said they can make that same type of step. Dan Fallows has already spoken about and talked, saying that this car has that potential to take that step like the AMR 23 did. And if they were to take a step like that, they would be very competitive with that Red Bull squad. A competitive season is all you can really ask for Aston Martin. We're not expecting them to go out there and just really run up a train on wins, but if they can pick up a few, maybe even beat out McLaren, that would be a big thing for them. Fight with Ferrari and Mercedes, if those are the top teams competing with Red Bull, that would be a successful season. Their in-season development in 2023 was pretty poor, and I think it cost them a lot. From revised floors to not really being successful in certain tracks because of kind of the arrangement they had in their car originally, they worked off a new baseline in 2023 from 2022. The 2022 car was a boat. It understeered completely. It had a lot of issues, and their first version of the AMR 22 was so slow in the straight. And I've used this comparison before, but literally F2 cars were faster than that AMR 22 in a straight. But not only that, I said the understeer was a huge issue, and they actually ended up fixing those problems with their B spec of a car. But the B spec yet again was draggy. The AMR 23 comes out, which is 95% different to their AMR 22, what they had, and it came out a very successful car. It was a lot less draggy. It had a lot less issues, but still pretty slow in the straight, and those high speed corners, the car was just not maintaining that high speed. I think we know for sure this AMR 24 is going to come out kicking in the slow speed corners. That was something funny enough that Red Bull was always really good at. The Red Bull car, the RB15 and 16, while those cars weren't championship winning cars, were very successful cars. And when I mean championship, I'm talking about constructors, because Max did win in 21. But as a whole, those cars were always really good in slow speed, but they lacked that top speed. And that was always one issue. Now, some people like to point that out, that it's the engine, but when they had the Honda engine, it was the same problem. They were just a slow car in the straights, but overall, probably the car with the best downforce and the actual aero kit around it, which is something that Dan Fallows brings. This car in 21, it was a copy of the Mercedes car, so they had all those traits, those aerodynamic traits that was really good for it. But in 22 and 23, he's offered a different range for the car and really helped that development cycle. Is this the year for Aston Martin to really take it and go for that win? I'm not sure, but it is important that they go upon this aggressive strategy and really pull the most out of their performance that they really can. With the backing of Fernando Alonso, Dan Fallows, and really that team that's surrounded over there for the team in green, there is a high chance of them actually making it successful in 2024. And a success for them, in my opinion, would be if they can fight that McLaren squad and really pull it up with the top teams. It would be a big shout for a team that is essentially a works team and something that they have to work around anyways. But I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you guys think? Is this going to be the season for Aston Martin? Can they be the surprise of the year? Many people say it can be. I'd love to hear what you guys think down in the comments below. Please leave a like, subscribe, it'd mean the world, and peace.